The sun hadn't even broken the horizon yet when Alex Thompson jolted awake to the sound of a pan clattering in his tiny kitchen. His heart slammed against his ribs. Mia was still asleep in the next room. He could hear her soft, congested breathing through the baby monitor. No burglar would be cooking at 5:17 a.m. He grabbed the baseball bat from behind the door anyway and crept down the hallway in nothing but his boxers. He stopped dead in the doorway. There, standing at his stove in one of his faded Northwestern t-shirts, the one with the hole under the armpit, was Victoria Langford. The Victoria Langford, CEO of Langford Dynamics. The woman who'd fired him 3 weeks ago. She was flipping pancakes like she belonged there, her dark hair twisted up in a messy knot, barefoot, humming something that sounded suspiciously like the Daniel Tiger cleanup song. Alex's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Victoria turned, spatula midair, and smiled like this was the most normal morning in the world. "Morning, Thompson. Coffee's almost ready. Sit down before you pass out." He didn't sit. He couldn't move. His shirt, skimmed the tops of her thighs. She was wearing it like it was hers. Like she'd slept in his bed. Like everything that had shattered his life 3 weeks ago had never happened. She set a plate in front of the empty chair anyway. 3 perfect pancakes, a smiley face made of blueberries. Exactly how Mia liked them. "Victoria, what the hell are you doing in my apartment? In my shirt?" Her smile faltered, just for a second. Then she slid into the chair across from where he still hadn't moved, folded her hands like she was about to negotiate a 9-figure merger, and said the words that turned his entire world inside out. "I'm here because last night you saved my life, Alex. And because I owe you the truth." He finally dropped the bat. It hit the linoleum with a hollow thud. 3 weeks earlier, Alex's life had been a carefully balanced house of cards. He was 32, widowed for 14 months, and raising 4-year-old Mia alone in a 2-bedroom apartment that smelled faintly of spilled milk and desperation. His wife, Sarah, had died suddenly, an aneurysm no one saw coming, leaving him with hospital bills, a toddler who still asked for mommy every night, and a job he hated but needed. Langford Dynamics paid well enough to keep the lights on. He was a mid-level software engineer, invisible in a sea of cubicles. Victoria Langford was the dragon at the top, beautiful, ruthless, untouchable. She'd taken over the company at 29 after her father's stroke and tripled revenue in 5 years. People whispered she didn't have a heart, just a balance sheet where one should be. Then came the layoffs. Victoria had stood in the auditorium that day in a charcoal suit sharp enough to cut glass and announced streamlining initiatives. 300 people gone by end of week. Alex's name was on the list. No warning. No severance big enough to matter. Just a cardboard box and a security escort. He'd come home that night, put Mia to bed, and sat on the kitchen floor drinking cheap whiskey until he cried silently so she wouldn't hear. That was the night everything changed, though he didn't know it yet. 2 weeks after the layoff, Alex was burning through savings and pride, applying to 50 jobs a day while Mia watched too much Paw Patrol. The city was in the middle of a brutal nor'easter, wind howling, power flickering. He'd tucked Mia in early and was doom-scrolling freelance sites when the doorbell rang. He opened it to find Victoria Langford on his doorstep, soaked to the bone, mascara streaking down her cheeks, clutching a broken high heel like a weapon. I didn't know where else to go," she stammered. Her lips were blue. He should have slammed the door. Instead, he stepped aside. She collapsed on his couch, shaking so hard he thought she'd shatter. He draped Sarah's old quilt over her shoulders without thinking. Mia wandered out in her unicorn pajamas, took one look at the shivering woman, and announced, "Daddy, she needs hot chocolate with extra marshmallows." Victoria laughed through chattering teeth. "I haven't had marshmallows since I was 9. Mia marched to the kitchen and dragged a chair to the counter like this was a mission. While Mia helped make cocoa, Victoria told him, haltingly, what had happened. Her fiancé, Charles Whitmore III, heir to a banking empire, had proposed 6 months ago with a diamond the size of a doorknob and a prenup that stripped her of everything if she ever left him. Tonight, at the gala honoring her as Businesswoman of the Year, she discovered he'd been laundering money through her company. When she confronted him in the parking garage, he'd snapped. He'd hit her. Hard. Then thrown her out of the limo into the storm. She'd driven aimlessly until her phone died, and somehow, maybe muscle memory from signing his severance papers, she'd ended up here. Alex listened, rage simmering under his skin. He wanted to find Charles Whitmore and introduce his face to a wall, Instead, he made her eat MIA's lopsided grilled cheese and ran a hot bath because she was still shaking. When he came back from checking on Mia, Victoria was asleep on the couch, curled under Sarah's quilt like a child. The sight punched the air from his lungs. She looked human. He left her his softest t-shirt and a pair of Sarah's old sweatpants on the armrest, then slept on the floor outside MIA's door in case she woke up scared. In the morning, she was gone. Only a note. "Thank you. I'll fix this. V." He figured that was the end of it. But it wasn't. She started showing up. First it was a delivery, groceries, the good kind with actual fruit. Then a check in the mail, 6 months' salary with a memo that said consulting retainer. He tried to send it back. It reappeared the next week, this time with a post-it, "Cash it or I'll keep sending more." Then one night the power went out citywide. Mia was terrified of the dark since Sarah died. Alex was trying to light candles with one hand and comfort her with the other when the door opened. Victoria walked in carrying 2 flashlights, a bag of glow sticks, and a pizza. Mia took one look and squealed, "The hot chocolate lady." Victoria spent the next 4 hours on the living room floor building a blanket fort and telling Mia wildly exaggerated stories about princesses who ran companies and fired dragons for bad behavior. Alex watched from the doorway, arms crossed, pretending his chest didn't ache at how easily his daughter leaned into the stranger. When Mia finally fell asleep inside the fort, Victoria crawled out, hair full of static, and whispered, "She's incredible, Alex." He wanted to say, "You don't get to do this. You don't get to fire me and then playhouse." Instead he asked, "Why are you here, Victoria? Really?" She looked at him for a long moment, eyes soft in the candlelight. "Because for the first time in 15 years, someone saw me break, and didn't try to fix me with money or threats. You just gave me a quilt." He had no answer for that. The visits became routine. She'd show up after MIA's bedtime with takeout and boring grown-up talk that somehow always ended with Mia conning her into one more story. Victoria learned how to work the finicky DVR. Alex learned she took her coffee black but secretly loved hazelnut creamer. She learned he still set 2 places at the table out of habit. He learned she hadn't taken a single day off in 8 years. She never stayed the night. Until the night of the pancakes. Back in the kitchen, Victoria pushed the plate closer. "Eat," she said gently. "Then I'll explain everything." Saturday. The pancakes tasted like childhood. She took a breath. "After that first night, I started digging. Charles wasn't just laundering money, he was setting me up to take the fall. If I went down, he'd swoop in and buy the company for pennies. I needed someone I trusted who understood the codebase. Someone brilliant who hated me enough to be honest." Alex raised an eyebrow. "I rehired you," she continued. Quietly. "Off the books. You've been working remotely for 2 weeks. Didn't you wonder why the freelance gigs kept paying exactly what your old salary was?" He stared. The anonymous contracts. The weirdly specific bug reports. It had been her the whole time. "I couldn't tell you," she said. "If Charles found out. But last night we got him. FBI arrested him at 3 a.m. It's over." She reached into the pocket of his shirt and pulled out a folded piece of paper. His original termination letter, now covered in red ink, void. Beneath it, a new offer. Double his old salary. Vice president title. Signing bonus that would pay off the medical debt and then some. He couldn't speak. "There's one more thing," she whispered. She stood, walked around the table, and knelt in front of him, the CEO of a billion-dollar company on scuffed linoleum in a ratty college t-shirt. "I'm in love with you, Alex Thompson. I think I have been since the night you gave me Sarah's quilt without asking why I needed it. I'm terrified. I'm terrible at this. I don't know how to be soft or domestic or whatever this is. But I know I wake up every morning wanting to be here. With you. With Mia. If you'll let me try." His eyes burned. MIA's voice floated in from the hallway, sleepy and excited. "Daddy, is the pancake lady staying for breakfast?" Victoria looked up at him, tears finally spilling over. "Please say yes." Alex reached down, cupped Victoria's face, the same way he used to with Sarah, the way he thought he'd never do again, and brushed the tears away with his thumbs. "She's not the pancake lady anymore, kiddo," he called back, voice rough. "She's Tori. And yeah, she's staying." Mia cheered like she'd won the lottery. Victoria laughed through her tears.